that's pretty good. What's up, guys? This is Tom Burkhardt from Car Revs Daily, going out for a very first drive in the 2017 Chevrolet Volt. This plug-in hybrid is really, really sophisticated and, I mean, virtually unrecognizable inside and out versus any Chevrolet sedan you've ever ridden in or driven. It's unbelievably good at first sitting. Really, really great Corvette-style compact steering wheel. Fabulous refinement, obviously. Full EV mode for most of the driving I was in until gunning it there to start this video, and absolutely, totally silent, totally smooth, just uncannily good. But you know, giving it some gas that wakes up our 1.5 liter 4-cylinder range extender, which pairs with this lithium-ion main battery in the Volt. Oh wow, it handles really nicely to deliver its main power. We've got paddle shifters, or at least a paddle downshifter, which is really nice for regen on demand. So let's talk about sort of how it drives. First, I will talk about some cabin amenities, and lastly wrap up with pricing and options. Forgive me, I don't know like all the pure specs and battery sizes of the Chevrolet Volt, but you know, it is still really awesome to get to drive it, because this car is so new. It's unbelievable. Really just a total revolution. As good as the Impala replacement was a few years ago, that's how big of a change this new Volt is. So we've got a couple drive modes. So we've got drive mode, normal, sport, mountain, or hold. So let's pop it in sport. We've got a couple layouts here. Make sure we're in. Okay, so now we're in sport. So I'm gonna give it full throttle. Extremely quiet and extremely smooth, but pretty fast. That's 60 right there. So that's like I felt like about 9, perhaps 8.5 seconds, which is really, really good for a hybrid. A PHEV in particular that scores, I think we're at 106 mpge, that's effective miles per gallon. That assumes a full charge, or at least some periodic charging with a wall cable to the Volt's battery. But you can, of course, just drive this in, you know, to another gasoline station if you're taking a road trip or something. It doesn't need to be plugged in. By having that range extender, it really does solve for some of the barriers that a lot of people had to adopting a full electric car. But what I'm really loving is the handling so far, which feels terrific. Feels really, really good. One of the awesome things about the Volt and plug-in hybrids in general is that by having that battery pack in behind the driver, often, you know, under the back seats or in the trunk there, it really, really affects the weight balance of the vehicles. So where normal front drive cars might be as much as like 65% of the weight on the front wheels versus 35 to the back, these PHEVs, and particularly this Volt, is supremely balanced. I mean, we've got about 50-50 weight distribution, and that's not just academic. I mean, that's something you really feel in the handling. It lets you corner harder, it lets you corner more confidently with less body roll, and you're able and carrying much more speed. All very, very good things. The Volt drives, it's so nice to drive. It's extremely refined. Very, very smooth engine, of course. Absolutely seamless as far as I can tell. Combinations of electric power and the range extender. And there's not even really a big wake up when the range extender comes on. They've really dramatically improved the balance of the engine and its insulation, so that it isn't as jarring of a transition between going from full EV mode when the car is like, you know, literally silent, to having that range extender. Whereas sometimes it can be a little jarring when the electric engine, or excuse me, when the gas motor kicks in. But that's not the case at all for this new Volt. It's very, very, very nice to drive. So we're in sport mode, and we've got really, really nice dual. I think these are dual 11-inch screens for the main display, as well as this touchscreen over here. So we've got displays, so we can have the power flow display. which is nice. That's very, very, very high-res graphics. Really quick, good button response time for this new touchscreen. The Volt is going to debut many new electronic cabin systems that will eventually feed into the Malibu Hybrid and lots of other Chevrolet and General Motors vehicles over time. But this is the absolute state of the art in terms of the infotainment and electronic architecture of the vehicle. So what that means is that the Volt, you know, is using less power doing everything versus a regular car. I mean, wipers, it's even things as subtle as it's like it's some nice, really amazing turning circle there. But you know, little things like you know, sending electricity to the brake lights, for example. I mean, that usually requires like a ton of wire. I mean, it's just a ton of wire. It's hundreds of pounds of wire and cables that have been going all over these cars for the last 20 years or so, and that really adds up. I mean, it's hundreds of miles of cable, and switching to these new latest, you know, ultra fast systems with like some fiber optic stuff. I mean, it not only uses like a lot less energy, it's so nerdy, but it also lightens the vehicles and has much faster response time. So that applies to like the electronic stability control, the electronic brake force distribution, all that stuff is just faster and better and you know, lightning fast, whereas before it might have taken, you know, 5 milliseconds. Now it's down to, you know, or it was taking 500 milliseconds down, now it's down to like 5 milliseconds. I mean, really fast stuff, uses less power, and the end result is that you have a terrific vehicle that is supremely refined and almost absurdly efficient. So let's go back to the info here. So we've got driven as I am driving, which is very, very aggressively for an EV. We're still getting 37 miles to the gallon, or that's what it is for when we got in, when other auto journalists were driving, guys who are notoriously hard on the vehicles. And that really good, that's about the worst mileage rating you're going to see from the Volt. You know, the rest of the time when it is driven in a normal commute situation, and particularly around the city when you're doing like less than 40 or 50 miles an hour, this is going to be a supremely efficient vehicle. You know, you could charge it up once like every couple days, and then be getting gas, you know, like once a month, once every 2 months. I mean, that's intense. That is an intense change for a vehicle that has really near zero compromises and all benefits for its new generation. So the 2017 Chevrolet Volt, of course, is a lot better, definitely, as we can see. We're in the Premier trim level, which I believe is one of the top, and it comes in with a base price that matches its excellence for this year. This is a plug-in hybrid, so similar to the upcoming Prius Prime, and with much better range and EV tech than the standard Prius, particularly with the Volt's standard Li-ion batteries versus the Prius's standard nickel and optional Li-ion. But having a PHEV, obviously those are a lot more expensive. So the base price of the Volt is $37,500, and with a couple options, including the driver assistance package with lane keep assist and Chevrolet MyLink with navigation for $500. Each of those are $500. It takes us to an out-the-door price with delivery of $39,950, which is really, really fair for people who are on the cutting edge of technology and who were Volt early adopters. This vehicle is going to be a dream come true, but the real advantage that the Volt will have will be in bringing new people on board. People who might not have, like, you know, green eco cred to the core, but really want those benefits. They want it to be like eerily smooth and silent. They want it to have you know, no need to worry about range anxiety, and be able to plug it in when they can, you know, or when they're in a situation where they can. People who park on the street, for example, like in Chicago, without garages, the EV options for you are very, very limited. But with this Volt, as long as you could plug it in maybe once a week at work, you would still be getting tremendous benefits out of its electrified transition versus just a gasoline vehicle. The only real downside of the Volt versus its rivals I'm not really sure how to say that, but the only disadvantage of this car versus a standard vehicle is that it just seats 4. So we have that T-shaped battery pack continuing for 2016, and that makes a full width center console. So you've got like special cup holders in the back where that the battery is like its own transmission tunnel type thing. So you've got batteries there. So you've got just 4 seat belts, but that makes the back seat sort of, you know, concept coupe-like, and gives you a nice little console back there. Doesn't really invade on your space, and is bringing those really good benefits of like ridiculous efficiency and outstanding chassis balance, which I think is certainly worth it. I really like its. I think what I like best though is the way it gains speed. It's really, this is like an anti-Prius. I know that sounds weird to say it because Prius has really defined the genre. We'll go down this little hill and then go up again. It'll show us how good the Volt is. This Volt is very different than the Prius in that it feels more like it has the pure EV urgency and torque of like a Nissan Leaf, or perhaps of a Tesla. It doesn't need to kick in that gas engine for any torque whatsoever, which has sort of been the case with some Priuses, particularly the Prius plug-in, which is like woefully poor at actually delivering pure electrics. So this Volt is a big achievement in that regard, in having that smooth electric flow. I mean, these little bumps, like very, very little noise or harshness, and really just an amazing level of smooth, silent, always there torque from 0 RPM. Nice. But blended flawlessly with the 1.5 liter 4-cylinder range extender. This is a really, really great car. And it feels very conventional. It doesn't have sort of the freaky dashboard of even the latest of all Priuses, and a lot of their compromised road holding. And the Prius does not love corners. Even the Prius plug-in, which the previous Prius PHEV, which had terrific chassis balance, it still was massively under-tired and doesn't love, you know, you can drive it fast, but you really got to push it. So having a fun to drive sort of Corvette infused nature for this Volt is huge news for EVs, and exceptionally promising for the next generation of Chevy electrics, which of course will include the Bolt coming up. The Bolt compact family wagon, I don't know what you want to call it, 5-door, is coming, which is a full EV, and is going to cost about the same as this Volt, so with like about a $37K price, and then the Bolt will benefit from federal and state EV grants, so that'll get the price down to like, you know, 30 grand exactly as a base, and it's going to be terrific if it's anything like this new Chevy Volt. All right, 27 Chevrolet Volt is available now. Go drive it. It is superb. It's so nice. This cabin is very, very luxurious, yet functional and high tech. And the drive experience is much sportier and purer than any hybrid to date. All right, see you soon.